The British Isles are practically overflowing with ghost stories. Tales of spectral figures in old castles and mournful spirits on ancient battlefields are just part of the national identity. But what if, beneath these familiar stories, there's something darker? We're not talking about a harmless echo of the past. We're talking about forces described as aggressive, intelligent, and sometimes not even human. What if the thousands of reports of poltergeists, violent hauntings, and strange creatures weren't just isolated nightmares? What if they're all connected? We'll journey from the supposedly cursed grounds of an ancient inn to the brutal confines of a haunted prison, and even into a modern suburban home plagued by an unseen attacker. The question is, are these paranormal hotspots just random, or do they follow an ancient, terrifying design? To find the start of this dark pattern, we have to look down into the very soil of Britain. Our first stop is a place that's been called the most haunted building in the country, the ancient Ram Inn in Gloucestershire. Its crooked walls and sagging roof hide a history that, according to legend, predates the building itself. While the inn was built around 1145, the stories claim it sits on a 5,000-year-old pagan burial ground. While there's little archaeological proof for that claim, the lore itself is powerful. The activity reported here isn't that of a simple haunting. People who have stayed the night tell stories of being physically assaulted in their beds by entities described as an incubus and a succubus. In a room known as the Bishop's Room, guests have reported being violently shoved by an unseen force, with some allegedly jumping from a window to escape. The former owner claimed to have found the skeletal remains of children under the floor, which only fueled theories of ritual sacrifice on the land. The ancient Ram Inn is our first chilling piece of the puzzle. The idea that ground steeped in violent ritual can become a permanent beacon for malevolent energy. From a place built on rumored burial rites, we travel north to a landscape scarred not by ancient ritual, but by historic injustice. Pendle Hill in Lancashire. This bleak and beautiful moor is infamous for the 1612 witch trials, one of the most well-documented in English history. 10 of the 12 accused were found guilty and hanged, their bodies reportedly buried somewhere in the hill's shadow. Much like the ancient Ram Inn, the spirits said to linger on Pendle Hill don't seem peaceful. Visitors often report an overwhelming feeling of anger and hostility. The entities here are described as vengeful. There are even unverified but terrifying reports from television crews of their members being strangled by unseen hands while filming on the hill. During one investigation, a medium claimed to make contact with an accused witch, who angrily said that other spirits were present and wanted the living to leave. This isn't just the sorrowful echo of a tragic past. The stories suggest a furious, active malevolence. Here, the theory strengthens. Intense, violent trauma seems to create a lasting, aggressive spiritual wound. So, we're starting to see a potential link here, a thread connecting violent history to present-day malevolence. If you find this journey into Britain's hidden supernatural network as compelling as I do, please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support allows us to keep digging into these unsettling mysteries. Now, let's see where the pattern goes when it bleeds into the modern world. This pattern isn't just confined to ancient history. In the 20th century, it seemed to resurface with a vengeance in the heart of Britain's cities. This brings us to Highgate Cemetery in London. This sprawling Victorian necropolis became the center of a media frenzy in the late 1960s and early 70s. It started with witness reports of a tall, dark figure with glowing red eyes gliding between the Gothic tombs. The press quickly dubbed it the Highgate Vampire, and the story sparked a full-blown panic. Soon, mobs of self-proclaimed vampire hunters were swarming the cemetery with stakes and crosses. While the debate over what people truly saw continues, the Highgate case is a crucial part of our pattern. It shows a malevolent entity becoming a modern urban legend, with some reports even claiming physical attacks, though these remain unproven. While the Highgate entity stalked the graves of the dead, another force was invading the home of the living just a few miles away. The Enfield Poltergeist case is one of the most documented and fiercely debated paranormal events in history. Beginning in 1977, The Hodgson family was tormented by a force that started with simple knocking sounds and escalated into terrifying violence. This wasn't subtle. Heavy furniture was seen sliding across floors, toys were thrown with dangerous force, and fires reportedly ignited out of nowhere. The activity seemed to center on 11-year-old Janet Hodgson, who was allegedly levitated and thrown from her bed. She also began speaking in a deep, rasping male voice that claimed to be a man who had died in the house. These events were witnessed by neighbors, journalists, and even a police constable who signed an affidavit swearing she saw a chair move on its own. However, the case is deeply controversial. The girls later admitted to faking some of the activity, leading many skeptics to believe it was all an elaborate hoax. Yet, believers point to the events that outside witnesses couldn't explain. The Enfield case shows the pattern shifting from a historical site into a contemporary home, its expression morphing from a shadowy figure into a violent poltergeist. We've seen the pattern on ancient grounds and in modern homes, but there's another type of location where centuries of concentrated human misery seem to permanently stain the walls. The prison. Our final stop is Shrewsbury Prison in Shropshire. For over 200 years, this building was a place of immense suffering and execution. Today, it's considered one of the UK's most haunted locations. But one area is feared above all. Cell 210, known as the Poltergeist cell. The stories say this cell is haunted by the spirit of a prisoner who took his own life there. The activity reported is aggressive and interactive. Staff and visitors tell of objects being thrown and doors slamming shut with incredible force. One paranormal group even claimed that a former inmate's spirit they contacted believed he was a vampire. Shrewsbury Prison represents the theory in its most concentrated form. Like Pendle Hill, it's a site of trauma and violent death. Like the ancient Ram Inn, its energy is described as hostile. And like the Enfield house, it features stories of aggressive poltergeist activity. It's as if the immense negative energy, generated by centuries of fear and despair, hasn't just faded away. It has coalesced, creating hauntings that are a far cry from a simple ghostly echo. So, what are we left with? From the rumored pagan grounds of the ancient Ram Inn, through the witch trials of Pendle Hill, to the urban terrors of Highgate and Enfield, and into the despair-soaked cells of Shrewsbury Prison, a disturbing theory emerges. Perhaps these are not isolated incidents, scattered randomly across the British landscape. It's a chilling thought. What if they are nodes on a dark map? Hotspots of malevolent energy connected by the common threads of violent trauma, ritual, and profound human suffering. Whether it's a desecrated ancient ground, a site of mass execution, a home under siege, or a prison that acted as a crucible of misery, the conditions that seem to create these paranormal hotspots follow a terrifyingly consistent formula. It suggests that certain acts of violence and certain concentrations of despair don't just fade into memory. They might leave a permanent wound on our world, a wound that could attract something far older and far more malevolent than any ghost. What other locations might fit this pattern, hiding in plain sight? And are we merely rediscovering a dark network that has always been here, waiting? Is this a myth or a reality? Find out in the comments.